Salute to all the Patreon members, all the supporters, all the subscribers, all the new viewers. I want to thank you guys for your support. Currently, I'm out the country right now, so I'm using a BS headset. I don't have the Electro Voice microphone on hand right now, but I'm traveling, so bear with me with the audio. I appreciate it. You guys can check out the links in the description box below for the Facebook page and the Patreon page. I would appreciate it. Let's get into this. Now, let me give a disclaimer. All right. For those that don't know, my name is Splash Wave Beats. I've either been living or traveling abroad for the last 15, going on 16 years now. All right. 8 of those years I've spent in Asia, all throughout Asia. Most Asian men think that American men are soft when it comes to women. All right. Their standards are very, very, very high in most countries of Asia. Uh, Women who have tattoos, overweight, kids, and as soon as they hit 25 or they're rude and, obnoxious, those women, their men do not touch them at all. All right. Um, Over in America is totally different. Over in America, a woman with multiple kids by multiple baby daddies, tattoos all over their body, overweight, wearing hair on their head that's not theirs, disrespectful, loud, rude, and over the hill. All these women can find a new man at any given point in time, right? We see this constantly. You're not gonna see a Bernice Burgos overseas in Asia. You're not going to see a Drea Michelle in Asia. You're not going to see what's her name? Brittany Griner. Or is it Brittany Griner, Brittany Renner? You're not going to see a Brittany Renner overseas anywhere in America, and they're going to pedestalize her on social media, right? They like to put, pop stars or people who are married in the public eye. uh Love and Hip Hop, all these reality TV shows where girls are fighting, they're in between guys. They never find, and nobody from their country wants to touch them, a woman that's equivalent to those women I just named. And April Jones right now can be one of Omarion, a Dr. Dre, a Tay Diggs, and the game and Lil Fizz, right? She could bounce from guy to guy to guy to guy. And even now, after she complained and went on that rant on social media about how no men are courting women nowadays, she could still find a new man if she wanted to. You understand? You got to understand the Asian version of an April Jones and Omarion over in the country in Asia. As soon as she left him with 2 kids, she would never be able to find another man from her culture ever, ever again. That's, I guess, somewhat sort of the beauty of America, and I put that in air quotes. So put let's focus on this relationship right here. My personal opinion, I think we should leave Travis Hunter alone. Why? Because let me tell you, the kind of woman that he prefers to have, right? His type. It doesn't matter what woman he's with, right? He's always going to get the same results that you're seeing right here. He's always going to get that kind of woman. Most men that are in long-term marriages nowadays, uh, their marriage dynamic really is a passive male with a dominant female. Those make up the majority of long-term married relationships in this country today. So what you're seeing right now, how do I know? Because my dad, my mom, my mother, and my father are still together to this day, right? My mother barks on my dad, and he just kind of takes it most of the time, right? Sometimes he likes to vent to me about his frustration with his marriage with my mother. And here's the thing, I cut him short. I say, oh, I don't want to hear it. I'm not the one to vent about this to, because most guys, they don't want a solution. And when you talk to these guys, it goes through one ear and out the other. You know what I'm saying? That's just their personality. They're comfortable with that. Some guys are just comfortable with having a wife that is not only kind of running and orchestrating things in their lives, but kind of barking and being domineering in the relationship. Some guys, they just work well in relationships like that. That is Travis Hunter. So it doesn't matter who he's with, right? He's always going to get the same caliber of women. Why? Because women, and you've heard people talk about this before. I've talked about this before. Women, man, they subconsciously and sometimes consciously like to test men, to test their boundaries. All right. Some guys, they test their boundaries. Oh, some women test their boundaries. And when you have a man who's not secure with themselves in a relationship, um, you know, and the thought of a woman leaving or not speaking to them or perhaps it's over, this raises a lot of anxiety in a lot of men in the West, right? Some guys that are too scared to let their women go, or no matter how disrespectful she gets, and she knows she's being disrespectful, but it's kind of like you keep failing because you don't stand up for yourself. You don't say, hey, I don't care if this woman comes and goes in my life. You're gonna have to, show me the same respect that I'm showing to you. And some women, well, all women, they are going to test their boundaries at some point in time. And when they see, okay, damn, you too afraid to let her go. You're not really standing on business. You're scared. You have anxiety. She hangs up the phone on you. You calling back 50 times, 60 times, 100 times in an hour. You failed, right? And some of these women, when you come back to them, it's like, hey, if you submit, right? Some of these women today, you have a lot of masculine women who, uh, you know, they feel comfortable being in a relationship with a man that submits to them. And hey, so be that it may. I'm just not one of those guys. Okay. You have a lot of guys commenting on this young man's relationship, and they ain't even got a woman. You got some guys commenting on this man's relationship, and they've never been in a relationship in their life. They're in their 20s, they're in their 30s, they're in their 40s, and they've never been in a long-term relationship with a woman in their lives. And in like the past week, right? I've heard opinions from guys who have never been in a long-term relationship with a woman. At most, they've been in a relationship for about maybe 2 to 3 months with a woman, right? You got people like, I'm not gonna say any names, just people in media who they've never had any luck with women. They got a lot of money. They don't have any luck with women, right? And they have the nerve to call this man green, right? And so I'm going to say this. This is just, it doesn't matter because let me tell you, Brittany Renner, I believe that's her, Drea Michelle, these women, they could do the right things that a so-called, basketball girlfriend is supposed to do in the beginning, right? And they could be doing all the right things, saying the right things. And most of these women that we're talking about today, they're not even with the guy they had children with, right? Most women leave today. The stats prove it, especially in the Black community. 85 to 90% of Black households are single mother households. The stats with Black marriages is uh, they don't even last 5 years. After 5 years in a Black marriage, it's a 7% chance in a Black marriage that a marriage will last more than 5 years. So you have a 93% chance of getting a divorce. Most of the times you get engaged with somebody, it never even leads to marriage. Things break off before, like right after the engagement, right? A lot of women, they turn down engagements. So, man, nobody picks right, right? Nobody picks right because a lot of men in the West, right? You taking on the passive, submissive role, and hey, if that works for you, so be that it may. I know a lot of brothers that are extremely thirsty. Hell, one of my partners today, he called me and he was talking about their relationship. He was like, "Man, did you see what she was saying? You know, when he was taking photos and videos, there's a video of her saying, "Man, do I got to sit here all day and this, that, and the third? Did you see what else? Uh, did you see that video when she was saying he wasn't my type? And did you see when he had that a really really good game and she seemed like she had an attitude. She was upset about something. Did you see when they was at that ceremony when he was receiving his Heisman trophy that she didn't stand up?" I'm like, dude, and respectfully, I got love for this for my partner that called, right? But his relationships in the past were tumultuous, right? I don't even think I said that word right. He had relationships from hell, and I'm glad he's out of those relationships and he's living his life and he's having fun right now. And I do believe that one day he'll be able to find the woman that he's looking for. But I think it's a lot of projection, in my opinion. You got to understand his personality type. I just explained to you his personality type earlier. It's a lot of projection coming from guys who've had failed relationships, who were weak in their relationships, right? Who've never had a real relationship. And people a lot nowadays, a lot of people they have a lot of opinions on other people's women. Let me tell you, it's his personality type. It doesn't matter if he drops her and gets with somebody else. When women test the boundaries with men in every relationship, they're gonna run into the same kind of woman. You can meet the sweetest woman from church. If she's testing her boundaries with you and you keep failing and you're very clingy, you could turn a good church woman into this woman right here. So sometimes, man, it's like opposites attract, right? It's the yin and the yang. Very dominant masculine men, they attract feminine, dainty women. Passive, feminine like men, they attract very masculine, domineering women. And when there's women, when they want somebody who's masculine and it's kind of missing in the relationship, then naturally they just become more masculine in the relationship when they see, hey, I can kind of say what I want, I could get mad or whatever. And some a lot of guys, they want to be masculine, they think they're masculine, and they fail every single time. Most women, you're going to have to be in a position if you want to be uh since a lot of guys are projecting, it's like you projecting your own failure onto him. And the kind of man that you want to be, you've never been that. You failed every single time. A lot of guys who preach on the internet, talking about, hey man, red pill this, red pill that, man, you got to be this, that, and the third. A lot of these guys have cried over a woman before. A lot of these guys have begged a woman to come back from before. A lot of these guys have, uh, you know, it don't matter what time this woman calls. It could be 3 o'clock in the morning. He picking up the phone, right? Losing sleep to talk to her on the phone. All right. So it's a lot of projection going on. And, I don't, I understand people giving their opinions, and that's fine. Everybody has an opinion. But let's run down the series of events past that game. We're past that game. I forgot the score. I mean, they slaughtered that other team, right? Let's go down the other events that have happened. So he put her in Adidas. She was in the Adidas commercial with him, and a lot of people had like they raised their eyebrow because of that. Man, let me tell y'all, you think that woman told him, no, you're gonna put me in this Adidas video? No, he's the one that probably asked her to be in that video. All right. It's almost like they have a brand together. There's probably people on TikTok that don't even know that he's a football player. They just know, oh, that's the TikTok couple, right? Seem like this guy, he's very clingy. That's just his personality. All right. But at the event, at the Heisman ceremony, when he received his trophy, I think that's what it was. And she was clapping, sitting down. She wasn't right. But sometimes, man, when you in that situation, you don't really know what to do, and you bringing your girl everywhere, right? Sometimes you just don't know. I'll give her a pass for that. Sometimes you just don't know. It wasn't like she was sitting there mad, pouting, right? She was clapping, smiling, happy for him, and then Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, kind of like, pushed, I won't say shoved, but just put his hand on her back for her to stand up and go give him a hug, right? Because the cameras are rolling. You don't know when everything is your first time. Maybe as the season goes along, your first, second, third season in the league, now it's kind of like you understand, you know, athlete wife etiquette, right? But I can give a pass. Oh, this is new. Both of them are fairly young. All right. Another thing, when he was taking pictures and she was there, she was like, I mean, I think that's what she said. I couldn't hear her. All right. But I think that's what she said. Am I supposed to sit here all day? Do you want me to just sit here all day or whatever? Once again, that's the woman he chose. And it doesn't matter what woman he gets with, right? And I'm to be honest, I'm gonna kind of have to side with her, right? Brother, you very clingy, you dragging me around everywhere, right? And it's like he wants that photo video op of her. It's like he wants her everywhere he goes, right? This dude's kind of clingy. You don't really see that with other athletes. Other athletes, they kind of bring their wives out during the SB Awards, and you know, the more famous they are, you're gonna see their lady and stuff like that. But it's kind of like, man, like you don't LeBron, we've seen commercials and videos and photo shoots and uh press conferences with LeBron. He doesn't have his wife everywhere he goes, right? It's kind of like, man, we've known each other this long. Like I'm good, right? They've been together 5 years. It's like, he's brother's still like kind of in the beginning stages with her. Just like, hey man, look what I got. It's like seemed like he's still not used to it after 5 years, and it is what it is. But I'm still give her a pass for that. Not that I would have a woman like that. See, the thing is, I wouldn't even. I don't even. I wouldn't bring no woman to no commercial. Like, hey, I'm leaving. I'm going to a commercial for Adidas. It might take a couple of hours. They probably gonna want me to, do about 600 retakes or whatever. So I don't know how long it's gonna take. I'll tell you when I'm done, and then I'll be back home. All right, you just sit right here and make sure you have some food ready when I get back. Right? That's what I would do. I wouldn't, as an athlete, a star athlete, I'm not gonna just drag my lady everywhere I go. Second, I'm not. You could be at the Heisman Trophy ceremony if you like, but I don't have to do it's no, you don't have to sit in the front. Just sit in the back. If you want to go, just sit in the back. You don't have to go. Nah, babe, I support you. I want to go. Okay, just sit in the back. Right? I don't do all these photo ops, video ops, and all that PDA. That's just not me. Right? See, they looking at him funny because this is a very clingy person who's all about PDA, and hey, that's fine. That's not me. So that video from that game, that would have never happened with me because I'm not running into the stands trying to grab my girl to give her a kiss after a game. It's like, hey, I'll text you. I'm going to the locker room, meet me out in the car, right? Hell, as a matter of fact, my chick gonna be texting me like, where you at? Because you know, I had a game like that. Shit, I ain't worried about her right now. I'm going to the locker room. He 21. I'm gonna pop bottles in the locker room. What you talking about? Like, I ain't thinking about her right now to be showing her PDA, right? But that's just me. But like I said, I think we should fall back, relax. Hopefully all this just blows over. The red pill community, they I wouldn't say red pill, but a lot of guys have looked to kind of pick on this woman now because it's I'm not gonna say it's a woman hating culture, but a lot of guys are projecting frustration and anger onto this woman because they're mad about themselves, right? You have to talk loud and project all this shit to prove that, hey, this is who I want to be. This is who I wish I could be. And it's easier said than done. Right. Some of y'all guys, man, this is why a lot of guys cheat in relationships because you're not secure with yourselves in a relationship. You get into a relationship, you meet somebody that you felt you've never met before, right? Like, damn, like I never met somebody like this before. And then they do something very disrespectful and they know it's disrespectful. And so you bring it up and they stand on their square about like I don't give a damn. Like, you know what I'm saying? And hey, you know what? I gotta stand up for myself and I gotta do the right thing. If she's disrespecting me this much and saying this and doing this, right? And it's not for me, then I should leave. But man, the thought of girls just leaving and they never get it back, they go into deep depression, anxiety, crying. A guy who gives you advice telling you, man, F that B, leave her. You don't need her anymore, man. Get you another girl. There's so many hoes out here. There's so many women out here. You got your passport, man. Why don't you get you some hoes? Like, man, forget about her. These are the same guys that'll give you that advice, but at home, right? Their girl is talking crazy to them, begging them for money, talking about they ain't really a man if they don't give them $600 right then and there, right? And the last time he gave her money, she disappeared all weekend, right? Yelling, screaming at him, you ain't no man, yada yada yada, hanging up the phone on him, and he's calling her back, crying, upset, texting her, trying to get her back. You got guys who do that in a relationship trying to give you advice. So this is a lot of people are just projecting, right? A lot of guys, man, they're not man enough to let go of somebody who disrespects them. Because once you do that, when you let go of somebody and you don't have nobody lined up. Well, let me finish my point. So when guys are in situations like that, and they know, man, I can't let emotionally, they can't detach from this person. They just go ahead and try to get with somebody else because if this person leaves, then it's kind of like, well, I got this person over here too, right? So I've emotionally, it's like, you know, uh, having another job lined up before you leave this company here. And guys, they don't really like to break up. So it's like, hey, man, I just got two girls. And then when my girl catches me, then I'll just stay with this girl. And when I get with this girl, then I'm going to find another girl because she kind of disrespectful too. It's like the cycle just keeps going on because a lot of men are not secure with themselves and their own relationships, right? If this man is secure, if he's happy what he has, let it go. All right, because it doesn't matter who he gets with. He's always going to be the kind of passive guy in a relationship. He's the epitome of happy wife, happy life. That's what happy wife, happy life looks like right there. All right. And some of the things people are upset about, I kind of give her a pass. Right. She was being honest. Right. It was, she said, like, hey, man, he was in my DMs for 2 months, kind of in the friend zone. And he wasn't my type in the beginning. Let me tell you, most of you guys listening right now, you didn't have a woman you've been chasing for months, years, and you in a relationship with her right now, and she hasn't even deleted the thread that all the comments and the messages you left in her DMs, and she's left you on red. She hasn't even deleted that yet. And y'all together, look at Dr. Boyce Watkins. Right? This man been chasing after that woman for decades, and now he's married to this woman. All right. After she didn't have kids, been ran through, he was still there. So I don't want to hear. A lot of guys are soft. Now, me, I'm not gonna have no woman like that, right? But at the same time, it's like I'm I have enough experience to where I know how to to prep somebody and give somebody a briefing before the season starts, or before we do this. Hey, we about to go up in here. I'm not saying you're gonna do it, but hey, don't do this, don't do that, and please don't do this. Right? I'm trying to put you up on game. Right? So you've already forewarned somebody before you get into the season, before you go to an event, before you go to your family's house, right? You have forewarned somebody already. So if they choose to do the opposite, then you handle it from there, right? But you could tell this man didn't brief his girl on nothing. He didn't give her no etiquette or how to act at certain places. And in the video, she's like, it's like, hey, I got kind of an attitude problem. If he's cool with that, he's cool with that. That's cool. He allows. There's a lot of guys who allow their women to bark on them. There are a lot of married guys who in marriages like that. Now there are a lot of guys who aren't married, who got kids with women, whose women are like that. And there are a lot of guys who don't have any kids, not married with a woman, and they've been together for a long time, and they feel, hey, that's just what they like. That works for them, right? So, and a lot of guys who are saying something slick about the both of them, oh, leave her and this, that, man, like I said, it doesn't matter who he gets with. It's going to be the same shit, right? When you a passive, soft guy who isn't really that masculine, and the fear of your girl is in the back of your mind, leaving, or you losing this person is in the back of your mind, right? Then you're gonna run into the same woman over and over and over and over and over again, right? There's some women, they in a relationship with a man where it's like, hey, I know not to play with him because he don't give a fuck, right? And there's some women, that same woman could get into a different relationship with somebody and be like, man, look, I do what I want, right? Same woman, but different personalities, because they know, okay, I can play with him like that. I can't play with him like that. So it falls on the men every single time, right? This is a perfect example of, man, you get what you put out there. So if you the type of person that it's like, hey man, I don't tolerate disrespect. I don't tolerate somebody cursing me out. Hey, there ain't no cursing in this house. This is that and a third. I'll let you speak your piece. Let me speak my piece. I hear each other out, but it's gonna be some respect. And you're not gonna convince me. You're not gonna try to convince me about the disrespect you just displayed there acting like there's something wrong with me being upset about the disrespect you just displayed there. You're just gonna have to go, right? There's some guys like that, and there's some guys where it's like, well, I don't want to do that because I know how she is, and I don't want her to yell at me. And there's some guys, those two type of guys, they exist in this world, and that's just how it is. And if you upset about the situation, then you're gonna have to, you know, build up some heart and strengthen up your character, right? But that fits for him, right? Her expressing her opinions, emotions and shit like that fits for him. And to a certain degree, I kind of feel her. You drag me everywhere, right? You want this photo op and this videos, and you always showing PDA, this, that, and the third. And it's kind of like, am I supposed to just sit here all day? Like, can I go? Like, I get it. This man is desert thirsty. But hey, that's how the relationship works. If you just my girl, man, look here. Maybe I might have you at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, but you're gonna be in the back. It's all about me right now. The commercial, it's all about me right now. Even if you my wife, sit back. You can go to the games. We'll have a section for you, and I'll meet you in the parking lot after the games. Like, relax. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna come down that hard on the both of them, neither his girl, because hey, he picked her, she picked him. All right. And I do agree with everybody saying how she's 23 and she looks kind of haggardly. Yes, I know. Latinas, their looks, it doesn't hold on that long. All right. Their body, it doesn't really hold on that long. She probably got one or two more good years left. And that's and I'm kind of being nice saying that, right? I'm kind of being nice saying that. But and once they see that, they go from one extreme to the next. It's like, okay, once they've really hit the wall, it's either I'm gonna turn up the disrespect, right? Or I'm gonna humble myself and be extremely nice and kind, because I'm seeing these women that are throwing themselves at him, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror. So it could go from one extreme to the next. But right now, man, look, I think it's a lot of guys projecting, you trying to get him to be the man that you can't be because it ain't in you. Right. And I'm not saying I'm perfect, but let me tell you, I ain't never cried over no woman. I never cried to a woman. Right. I've had some times in a relationship where, it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna walk off and not speak to her for about a week, knowing that I shouldn't be with her, but I would go back anyways. But after doing that 2 or 3 times, it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck am I doing? I'm out. Right. I'm out. A lot of you guys, man, you in these relationships with, you can look in a woman's eyes and there's no emotion there. You with these emotionless women who have no conversation, no communication skills, no wife skills, right? No teamwork skills whatsoever. And they disrespecting you, and you still begging her to stay. And those same guys are on the internet angry, projecting their lack of masculinity onto him. You want him to be the man that you can't be because it ain't in you. Come on now. So that's all I got to say. Salute to Bernard Kemp. The difference is Travis Hunter decided to put his relationship on social media. That's the kind of relationship he wanted. So yeah, everybody's gonna have an opinion when you put your relationship on social media. All right. When you're on social media, regardless if you put your girl on there or not, people gonna have an opinion. If you go to LeBron James Twitter right now, it's nothing but people asking him about that Diddy party, clowning him about Diddy parties this, Diddy party that. That's just what happens when you're in the limelight. We in social media age, so it is what it is. Like he didn't even if he didn't have a girl, they was still gonna clown this man, because I heard of people talking about his looks and this, that, and the third. Like people gonna have something to say on the internet regardless. All that may be true, but the difference between those guys and Travis Hunter, Travis is the one that put his relationship. Okay, you already said that in the beginning. What is the success rate for the so-called masculine male? Man, let me tell you, all these bitches leave, dude. All these bitches leave. All right, all of them leave. So, you know what I'm saying? The thing is men have been so passive in America for so long that if all men were to um put their foot down and be masculine, quote unquote, by tomorrow, you didn't set a precedent for so long that there's going to be a huge backlash in the streets because you've let this shit go on for so long, right? It's not going to go on in other cultures, over in uh Thailand, China, Japan, Taiwan, because it's like those women know like that it's been the beginning of time. I can't act a certain way, right? And when I do act a certain way, these women are single for life, and at best they can get with is a foreigner, and they don't bat an eye to it. At best you can get with is a foreigner, and they look at that as like, okay, that's almost punishment for you because this man can always go back to his country and leave you broke, homeless, child, like I won't say, well, not homeless, but like they could turn you into a single mother because they have a home country they can always leave, right? And since they know how you are in your culture, right? They get violent with you, they get loud with you, they get disrespectful with you. I just did a whole live stream about that brother over there in Taiwan, that basketball player. They try to say it was domestic violence against his wife. I don't think it was domestic violence. I think brother was probably trying to defend himself, right? But let me tell you, man, like women in other cultures, especially in Asia, they got to watch their tone when they with their men because when the word in the community gets out that this woman runs her mouth, disrespectful, made this man look bad, then the word gets around in the neighborhood and she becomes no good for the rest of the life. You see, these women like you know, a Jocelyn Hernandez or who's that other chick? Who's that other chick? Fuck. That country singer from Memphis. Well, she was R&B. Hey, whatever. It don't matter. All these women out in reality television, right? Trina and what she said about her man and stuff like that. It like that. You never run into women like that talking about an Asian man from their culture over in that country because they will get canceled. They will get X'd out the next time. If she has a man, she's gonna be with a foreigner. And that foreigner, the way these women are able to get over on these foreigners all the time is because they take advantage of how passive a lot of men are in the West. You know what I'm saying? That's why you hear about all these guys. I remember one guy. He this man he was with his girl for years. White dude. He she had access to his bank account. They had a joint bank account. He had a safe in the house and a Ducati. This woman stole the Ducati, went into the safe, stole all the gold and the money from there, and emptied out the bank account and went up north in Thailand. I mean, that's a common story in Thailand, right? A lot of women they played a long game with a lot of foreigners over in Asia. You know, they can get that kind of stuff off because a lot they know that American men are soft. All right, American men are soft, so it's and to be you know to have patriarchy, to establish patriarchy in your household and masculinity in the household, you don't have to yell, you don't have to curse out nobody. Like, man, look, I'm like, I don't care if any woman I'm with comes or goes, right? I'm like, hey, if this ain't working for me, I'm like, hey, it's over. Some women they be like, damn, like this motherfucker ain't playing. Like you really you really breaking up with me? I'm like, yes. Like I said this, this. See, some women they know men in America are so soft and passive that when you try to say something, right? Like, hey, that was disrespectful what you said. This is like, man, I don't give a fuck if you feel like it's. Some women might not say that, but in their minds they think like, okay, whatever, what the fuck ever, right? Women can get that off in America. But in another country, they cannot get that off. The community will go in on your ass. If you think you try to you do that to one man, even if it's behind closed doors, that man could tell his family, friends, the community, this, that, and the third. And once the word gets that this woman was talking to this man that kind of way, oh, she could be 22 years old. Nobody wants her. Nobody. Right? They stand on business overseas, and that's why you don't see too much crazy shit like that overseas. And if they do, you know what I'm saying, if you do got some slick talking woman from over there, it's because she done made it over here to America, right? Or some of the things that they do, it's like a subculture. It's like a niche culture. Like, for example, there's a lot of most guys over in Asia, they don't touch women that have tattoos, right? So in order for her to get with a guy in her own culture, she has to get with somebody that it might be like a niche culture, a niche subculture that they're adopting from the West, and then all 30 of them or 40 of them are into that. Like the whole the cholo culture, right? A lot of Japanese people in Japan dressing up like cholos and dressing up like Hispanic gangs over in the West Coast. Right, that's a very niche like subculture over there that they've adopted, and they've managed to find other people who are into that, and they get a bunch of tattoos, do their makeup a certain way, dress a certain way, right? And they get with each other and live their lives out together like that. But that's not the majority, right? A Japanese woman, if she has a tattoo, it could be small, it could be hidden. As soon as her clothes come off and a man says, "Oh shit, you got a tattoo?" Yeah. Oh, you never told me you had a tattoo. They take that seriously. It could be a Hello Kitty tattoo. It's like they look at that as yakuza. And he may or may not fuck her, but even if he does fuck her, he's never talking to her again. Right? So y'all gotta understand, like, different cultures, and within our own culture, the type of males that are out here. This is the face of a man, like, he's happy wife, happy life. They probably will last a long time. And y'all talking about, oh man, she ain't really for him, she for the money and this that. Do you know what the divorce rate is in America? Get the fuck out of here. And y'all are still getting married, right? The richest men in the world whose wives seem like they were good on their arms and they were playing their role the right way, they all went through a divorce. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, Tom Brady. Come on now. Like, so if he wants to get married, so be that it may, right? This is your culture. This is how you guys are. A lot of men are suckers for love in America. So, you know, let it happen. And who knows, they just might last a very long time, man. So I'm not the one that's gonna come down on him now. I know I probably said some things that I know I probably said some things that if he heard it, it's like, yeah, it's like I appreciate him for saying this, but I don't like this about it. So I'm not saying anything to cape for both of them or whatever. I'm being honest and truthful. Let's stop acting like we don't live in America, right? Let's stop acting like all these most guys out here just gorilla pimps, and we live in a patriarchal system, and most men this, most men that, a real man and a real man. Most of these guys that are talking about a real man, they scared to let their woman go after she done shitted on him in front of everybody. They scared to let they scared to let her go. They scared to be like, hey, look, man, I don't like the way you said that to me, yada yada yada. Man, his girl be like, man, I don't give a fuck. Say what the fuck I want and still be with her and stay with her. So a lot of guys like that. So, good, bad, right or wrong, right? And I don't. It's not as bad because let me tell you, there are women who will do all the right things, say the right things, and they still clean. They still get a man for everything. They still put a man on child support, right? So nobody picks the right one. Who is picking the right one, right? Nobody picks the right one. Nobody does. Who's giving him most of these guys that are giving him advice, they got baby mamas that done clean them out for everything, pause, and they paying child support, or they have been paying child support. Who's gonna say something to him? Right? Shannon Sharp can't say nothing to him. Deion Sanders can't really say too much to him. Ocho Cinco, Chad Johnson can't really say too much to him. These are all guys that have dealt with crazy women, and they're not with the mother of their children or children, the mothers of all their children. You talking about guys with multiple baby mamas that come on now. You was this same dude once before, except this guy does seem kind of thirsty. It's like, hey man, chill. Like you ain't got to involve your woman in everything. Goddamn, make her sit, behind the curtain or something. Like motherfucker, tell her to sit her ass at home every once in a while. Like, yeah. But at the same time, that's his decision. So he's the PDA type of guy. That's him. Happy wife, happy life. That's him. All right. What y'all want him to do? And I said it twice, I'll say it again. Most of y'all are projecting your anger and frustration from your past history from from women onto him because you want him to be the man that you can't be. Hey man, you need to drop her and get you a new one. There's better women out there. As soon as you get into the league, you're gonna have access to better women. Okay, motherfucker, how come you ain't dropped that bitch that was talking crazy to you that whole time? I was there when she said that shit to you. I was there when she jumped you with her friends. I was there when she vandalized your car. There's a lot of guys, man, that'll say this shit and they never had a chick before. Oh man, he need to do this, do that. Okay. Have you ever been in a relationship with a woman for 5 years? No. Have you even been in a relationship with a woman for 5 months? No. So what the fuck what kind of advice do you have for him? You ain't never had a bitch before. You ain't never had nobody that actually liked you before, but she said she didn't like him. Man, there's a bunch of guys in relationships that had women that they were chasing for months, years, in their DMs for a long time, and they got her. And they felt the same way. That's what I'm saying. You know how many guys I know is like, man, man, I've been trying to get at her for a minute and she ain't going, but I think she almost there though. And they get her. And they telling him, man, he won my type. Why do you think women why do you think it took you so long to get with this chick and you putting that pressure on her? You got to put pressure because you want her type. She ain't really like you like that in the beginning. Like it's a man, come on now. Stop. She has to say no. I mean, I don't care if her mother is black or not. It don't matter. I don't care about all that. Right? That's irrelevant to the conversation. But the thing is guys are getting she all right, she was open, honest. I guess there might have been a little bit of kind of a little bit of arrogance behind that, I guess. Some people felt the way she said it. I guess the way she said it, a lot of people felt the way. But I'm like, man, come on now. Like I know some of these dudes here, like they put that pressure on women and a woman ain't going until a year later, years later, right? You know, it's so I don't know why guys were part of the black delegation does. I don't give a shit about the black delegation. This ain't the black delegation channel. I'm sorry, this is the real delegation channel. So I'm not siding with everybody just because they black or they grandmama black. Fuck them. I don't give a damn about the black delegation. This all about, and most of this is my opinion, so I'm gonna keep it real. But at the same end of the day, this is the real delegation over here. So, P Diddy and Cassie, yeah, like yeah, man, like this. I mean, it's not right. He's he's in jail right now, partially because of the shit that was going on between him and her. But you guys, these guys, man, they telling him to leave his girl, but you know, you got guys who then drag their woman through a hotel because the pain of her leaving when you should just let her go, it doesn't sit right with them. And hey man, just let her go. Like, come on, dude. Like, you crying, begging this woman, you know. So it's man, man. Anyways, I'm over and I'm out. I've been on here long enough, damn near an hour too long. Well, I should have just had it at 15 minutes. Uh, so hey, that's my opinion. If you agree with it, much respect to you. If you don't agree with it, then much respect to you. I'm not, my word isn't law. I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong. No, it's just, it's just my perspective Hopefully, it's a different perspective than you had, and you are open to it. If you still feel the way you feel about it, then hey, that's cool. But if you say, hey, you know what you just said, I have a different perspective on it now after you said that, then much respect to you. But we could all be cool in the grand scheme of things. It's not that serious. But anyways, man, I'm over and I'm out. You guys enjoy the rest of your Monday. And I'll see you next time. Peace.